If you're currently watching this video, I am on my family summer vacation. I'm going to put the dates here. We're currently closed during that period. If you're watching this video outside of this period, then obviously it doesn't matter. But in today's video, I thought we'd just have a trading session. Yeah, it's going to be my last video before I go away. Because if I don't make a YouTube video after like 3 days, I start having like withdrawals. I start shaking. Saying that, I mean, if I don't place a trade after about an hour of getting out of bed, I literally start to panic. I'm like, oh my God, what am I going to do in my life? I can't trade. Right. So a lot of members, right, I just want to get this point across. A lot of members are trading the Mogwai Reversal strategy, mainly the blue alerts on futures. So we have a lot of members from America. I think the majority of our members are actually from America, and the majority of them are trading futures with Topstep, apexfunding, I think, as well. The reason why you never see me talking about futures is because I don't trade it. If I'm being totally honest with you, I've never placed a futures trade in my life, so I have zero clue on how to trade it. I'm going to be honest with you, I don't. But a lot of our members do. If I just show you here, a lot of members are just taking trades on futures. They're just taking the blue alerts blindly. They're just currently testing it. This is obviously with the Mogwai Reversal alerts. This is what we released about 2 weeks ago. The members finally have it, and they started just basically playing around with the alerts and like seeing how well they perform. But as you can see here, this member's like, yeah, I've got like just taken the blue alert, 72% win ratio. This one here is on, again, what is this? MESI, mini S&P 500. I think that's futures, isn't it? 3 wins today on Russell. Again, this means nothing to me, if I'm being honest with you. MES TP, that one, another win. Again, 2 more wins. They're just testing it, right? They're just taking the blue alerts or every blue alert on futures. And I assume gold TP, as you can see here. Look at that, enough to make you cry. SL for me. MES blue signal again. And I think if I am correct, right, where's my charts? It's here. I think, is that right? MES. Here we go here, right? So this is basically what they're doing. Again, I can't even place a trade on futures, so I have no clue how to do this, right? But let me just, I think I'm going to change the 15 minutes and 30 seconds. And effectively what they're doing, right, is they're just taking the blue alerts that appear. So obviously that one, kind of like that one there sort of thing. So if a blue alert appears on futures, they're just taking it blindly, right? And actually a lot of members are doing this on GPUSD. So, you know, setups like this here, if I just go to like, I think the 15 seconds, they're just taking the blue alerts on futures. So like on GPUSD, shall I say. So obviously that one's a loss, that one's a win, that one's a win. That one's maybe a loss, that one's a win sort of thing. So that's what they're doing. However, I don't do that, okay? So obviously a lot of members taking blue alerts. What I trade is just the normal Mogwai Reversal. The reason being, okay, is simply because I like to teach people what I do myself. If I'm going to teach you to take a trade, I also need to take that trade as well, right? And I need to sit there and, you know, put my money on the line and say, I would take that trade. That's what I'm comfortable teaching you, because at the end of the day, that's what I do, right? So I'm the kind of like the old school trader that likes to just take the second pullback. I don't just like to take any setup blinds. Just to show you my trades for today, okay? In fact, I'll show you my trades today. What I'll do is actually, because I'm going to place a trade for you in today's video, I'll just bring it up here, lonely screen like this here. So these are my trades for today. As you can see, when it loads, come on, there we go there. Okay, those are my, well, as you see, there's my account balance. I've got no open trades, and those are my trades so far today. So I'm up £2,600. And yeah, we're just gonna have a trading session. Let's, in fact, I might get a setup actually. This is gonna be quite interesting. Yeah, I'm probably going to get a setup. I'm definitely going to get a setup any minute now on gold. How do I know that? Is because, you know, I say this to everyone, right? When you spend so much time trading the same thing over and over again, you know when you're going to get a setup appears. Because this is what's good about the Mogwai Reversal, is because we're taking the second pullback, right? We're confirming a trend. And after a while, it becomes very easy to spot when you're going to get a setup, right? Because if I was to show you like this here, as you can see, if I mark this up here, as you can see, we've got our first pullback in the market. You see that? Right? So our second one is obviously going to be there, right? So you can see here, if I just bring this up like this here, I'm going to draw this on a line. So you see how it's come down like that there. You see how it's pulled back like that there. You see how it's come down like that there. You see how it's pulled back like there. And you see how it's come down, right? That is obviously a, you know, trend down, a pullback, a trend down, a pullback, and, you know, we're going to get a setup, okay? Trading is very simple once you, well, first of all, once you make it simple and you just stick at the same thing, right? It's, you know, I don't really know what today's topic or, you know, trading topic is, or the YouTube topic is. It's just to sit there and have a trading session with you. Well, take this trade with you, hopefully when it appears. And just to kind of show you, right, that the power of what just doing the same thing over and over again. When I spend a lot of time teaching people to trade, it's always a psychological thing. So if you were to look at the way I trade, right, I don't follow anybody else on YouTube. I've never learned any other strategy. I've only ever learned the binary destroyer. Because of that, right, I'm every single day, it is only binary destroyer. It's literally every single day. I'm trading every single day. I'm trading the same way every single day. And after you trade like that, after a couple of weeks, after a couple of months, after like 6 months, with no distractions, all you're doing is just focusing and improving every single day. You'll just get better. Just to show you, I don't actually think I'm going to get a setup now on gold, because you see how the purple MACD is like slowing down at this level, which is not good, because we need to get a signal at this level here, right? So it's very likely that we're not going to get a setup. See how it's starting to be pushed down here? It's almost like, I don't know, I feel like I'm the oracle of like the Matrix, you know, when you sit there and it's like, I know what's going to happen. You see how like that TCA line starting to go red? See how it's gone red? Oh my God, that's magic, isn't it? How did I know that was going to happen? I don't think we're going to get a setup. Look at the MACD now. You see how the MACD is starting to flatten out? That's not good, right? We need a big push up now into that level. If we get that, then the MACD will go overboard and blah, blah, blah. We can, you know, take this trade down. But I don't, yeah, you see how it's coming down now? Yeah, I don't think we're going to get a setup right there. I don't think we're going to get a setup. I might be wrong, right? But I mean, we'll see. Let's see if I can find something else. GP USDs might give me a setup at the minute here. So we've got our first pullback there. I'm looking for my second pullback there. But again, we're still in a downtrend at the minute. What's happening with gold? Yeah, you see? You know, that's experience for you, right? Right. Ooh, I might get some setups on GP CAD. No, it's been in a downtrend for absolutely ages. I think not. Okay. No, I don't think I'm going to get any setups at the minute. You know, I probably jumped on the charts at the wrong time. Ooh, DAX might give me a setup. But look, DAX has been like, yeah, that's not good, mate. That's not good. That's not good. A lot of BD members are smashing it. Wow. BD members are smashing it. That's a nice trade. That is a nice trade. Beautiful. Yeah, a lot of members are smashing it. They're really enjoying their trading. You know, I can't really say a lot, to be honest with you. It's just a normal day in the office. You know, I'd really like to get a setup today to show you. Here we go. GPUSD might pull back. I'm going to cheat on GPUSD, right? I'm going to show you this, right? So here we go here. We might actually get a pullback now. This might actually be a really good setup if we pull back. So we've got our first pullback because there's structure. Our second pullback, I don't think we'll get a setup here, because you see how we're pushing up into that zone. You see how we've just hit that zone there? The MACD isn't even close to going overboard, which is not good, right? What I'm going to do is I'm going to pause the video. I'm going to come back and see if we can get a setup. Well, see if I can find you a setup. I'll come straight back. Okay, so I found a setup. Now, in all the time frames, I had to find this setup. I found it on the 5 seconds. So I'm going to take this trade, right? This was on that GPUSD trade, right? I'm actually going into this trade with 10 lots. I'm not even joking you, right? Hold on, let me just screen share this. And the reason why I'm going in here with 10 lots is because I've already made a bit of profit today, and I thought I'd just kind of like, last trading session before I go on holiday. I'm going to monitor it anyway. You know what's interesting is when you take trades off the 5 seconds or the lower seconds, the moves look massive, but they're not actually massive, right? It's like, I'll give you an example, right? It's quite interesting because somebody made an interesting comment the other day. And it said, oh, how can you blow your trading account on the second time frames, right? Because like, I'll give you an example here. If I put a stop loss way up there, you're like, oh my God, look at the size of that stop loss. Well, it's only 10 pips, right? And obviously you wouldn't have your stop loss. You'd have your stop loss something like that. So I would probably go with, wow, look at that price drop. Oh my God, beautiful trade. Beautiful trade. Look at me, I'm up, hold on. Here we go here. I'm up 115 quid, right? I tell you how I took this trade, right? This is a little bit sneaky. So as you'll know, I was watching this trade on the 10 seconds and I'm like, I'd marked up my level. And do you remember I said I'm not going to get a setup because the MACD wasn't close to going overbought? I thought, yeah, well, it ain't going to be overbought on the 10, but it will be overbought on the 5. And yeah, as you can see, it's still valid, right? I shouldn't have showed you that because that's like effectively forcing a trade. But listen, mate, when you trade the Mogwai Reversal, or, you don't have to trade the Mogwai. If you trade any strategy for like 2 years, every single day, you learn this, right? You learn it. It's not, you can't teach this. It's just experience, right? It's experience, okay? And I'll tell you another top tip, actually. Let me just, what I'm going to do is I'm going to probably go with, I'm going to move my stop loss down to 3 pips on this one. And 3, 6, 9, 12. Let's go for a 1 to 4 on this trade, yeah? Let's go for 1 to 4. Let's just 1 to 4, which is all the way down here, right? There you go there. Let's just see if we get a 1 to 4 out of this trade. But obviously, you have to remember, we are going to be getting pullbacks on this trade. Okay, because obviously price on the other time frames are going to pull back. So, what I would tend to do, in fact, what I'll do here is just to show you is you see how we're bouncing off that. Oh, you see, yeah, I entered this trade a little bit late. We're in profit, but this is the seconds for you, right? This is literally the 5 seconds for you. I'm going back to break even, but I've got this low here. But what I was saying, right, what I wanted to tell you is I was having a conversation, remember, earlier. So yeah, as I was saying, sorry about that, I had to let the dog out, I was barking. I was having a conversation, remember, the other day about trades, right? Watching other people trade. And like I was explaining to him, is that trading is 10% chart time, 90% psychology. I'd actually go as far as to say it's more like 99% psychology. And what I mean by that is when you watch people trade, so when you're watching me trade right now on YouTube, you're looking at the structure, right? You're looking at the setup, the second pullback, the way I've marked it, my stop loss and take profit. But you also need to understand my psychology as well, my thought process going into this trade. Because what you don't see, and you'll never see this, right, with every trade, is that I'm already up 2,600 quid profit, right? So when I'm going into this trade right here, you don't see that, right? You're looking at this trade and going, Jamie, why have you got a 1 to 4? You don't teach that. You don't go for a 1 to 4 on all of your trades. Yes, okay, but you have to remember I'm only risking the profit here, right? I'm going for a 1 to 4. I'm still going to take my partials at a 1 to 1, right? You see, I'm waiting for it to drop a little bit lower and then I will close off 6 lots and then I'll let the rest go for a 1 to 4. But this is what you need to understand. If you're going to ever watch people trade on YouTube and try and dissect the way they trade or their strategy, because I know people do it. I used to do it, right? Used to watch people on YouTube and you'd be like, Oh, I know their strategy. I've watched their YouTube videos. Yes, but the price action is only 5% of it. You need to understand the reasons why they're going into that trade, their thought process, their mindset, why they're doing that certain things. It's a psychology thing, right? There are certain trades like this here. Look at that drop in here. Beautiful. So you see here, right? I'm going to take now, okay? So I'm going to close off 7 lots, done, right? So you see here, done, okay? So I banked another £218. As you can see here, 98 quid. I'm going to move that stop loss down now, right? I'm going to move that stop loss down. And I'm going to go risk-free on this trade. But I think it's important that you understand that, right? Because, you know, a skill in trading is being able to master the psychology part, right? You know, going into a trade with confidence, knowing what you're doing every single time. And just because somebody places a trade doesn't mean you have to understand the reasons why they took it, because you don't know why they took that trade, right? I mean, I take some trades that, you know, perhaps I shouldn't have took, right? I mean, there was a trade this morning that I took on gold, and yeah, it was not the best trade. I was still half asleep and I made a mistake taking it, right? But you know, if you didn't know that, you would just go, why did you take that trade, Jamie? It doesn't meet the rules. It doesn't make sense. I know I made a mistake. I was half asleep, but right, you've got to understand that, the mindset, that, you know, where, you know, the situation around some trades, right? Will I get a 1 to 4 out of this trade? I don't know. I'd like to, but if I do, it'd be nice, right? Who knows, right? It's dropping, right? We're bouncing off that resistance, but if you actually go to the 10-minute, we're probably going to be overbought. You see how we're going overbought now? In fact, we might actually come down. What's the 15 saying? Yeah, we might come down again. We might come down again. We'll see what happens. What I'll do is I'm going to pause the video and I'll come back again. Right, I'm back. Let me just show you something, right? This is quite interesting. So I'm still in this trade, okay? I'm actually just talking to the members at the same time, as you can see here. Excuse me. So what's interesting, right? This is a mini lesson. Again, it comes with experience. You can't teach this stuff. Well, you can, but you know, whether people listen, it's a different story, right? Let me just bring up my chart so I can draw on my chart so you'll understand something, right? So hello everyone. Hi. Let me just, here we go here. Right. So first of all, I want you to take note. You notice how the MACD's not gone oversold, right? Which is good, which means we could have further movement down. However, a mini lesson in a trend, okay? You see how prices come down? You see how prices pulled back? You see how prices come down? You see how prices pulled back? You see how prices come down? Prices pulled back. You see how prices come down? Now look at the difference, right? I'm going to make this a different color now. I'm going to make it yellow, right? You see that pullback? You see this pullback or this low. You see that low? You see that low. You see how there's like a significant level. It's lower, right? And then look at this lower here, this lower low. See the difference, how much lower this is compared to that. So this tells me that there is a strong downtrend momentum. Now look at this low here. See that? You see how that is barely any lower than that? So price is slowing down. This tells me that potentially, and I say potentially because you don't know everything, you don't know in trading, right? You can only go with what the chart's telling you. The price is slowing down at this level, right? Now, I never do this, but just to prove my point, because it just helps with learning and confidence building. If I was to mark a level here, I guarantee you with a, I don't know, £1 million, no, I'm not going to say that, because I ain't got a million. There is going to be a support level here. So if I was to go to maybe the 1 minute, you see how there's a level just there? Oh my God. How did I know that was going to happen? It's because, like I said to you, if you actually read the charts, you've got a downtrend, pullback, downtrend, pullback, and we're really slowing down at this level, right? Now, if you look at the MACD's not gone overbought. So it's very likely we're going to continue higher. So because I went for a 1 to 4 on this trade, I'm just going to get out of this trade. Done, right? So I'm out of this trade. Ready? Look, there's the trade. Done. Hold on. Okay. And done. Hold on. When it loads. When it loads. Done. As you can see here, there is my trading results. I made, yeah, I mean, 300 quid. I mean, it's rubbish, right? But that's the 5 seconds, right? It's the 5 seconds for you. You're not going to make you're not going to make massive amount of money unless you hold trades for long periods of time. You need to be on the higher time frames, really. But I just wanted to, the reason why I trade the seconds is just to kind of like, I don't want to sit on YouTube waiting for a setup to happen. It's like I want to jump into a trade straight away and then film it for you. It's just easier, right? But again, right, the more, hang on here, look, you see I've got a setup here on Euro USD. But like I said, right, the more you take, right, you see how it's bounced off here. Look at that rejection. The more you take, the more you're going to learn. So it's not always necessarily a bad thing. Yes, you'll make less profits, but you'll learn quicker because you're in more trades, right? And it's just like I said, right, it's experience, which I know I say to people, right, it doesn't matter how much money you have in trading, it won't give you an advantage over somebody else, right? What makes you successful is the chart time. It builds up the confidence, it builds up the experience, and that's what you need, right? That's what makes a good trader. Good trader is a good trader, period, because they're good. It's not the strategy, it's not the way they manage trades, it's not the, their price action, whatever. They are just good. They're good at putting everything together. Can you do it? Yes, of course. It's just about removing yourself from the distractions and going, right, I'm going to focus on this every single day and I'm going to improve every single day until I get to the point. Now, if we go back to GPUSD, was I right about this trade? Will it drop down? Who cares? I don't care. You shouldn't care. I did what I did on this trade. I made money. I tried to push it as much as I could, but I decided to get out because I wanted the extra 100 quid. Done. There you go. Right? Whether it's right or wrong, it doesn't matter. I've done my job, picked a winning trade, made money. Next trade, move on. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed that video. I'll see you in another one.